You know, for the longest time I've been sitting here wondering how they got this huge wooden cart in the middle of this, giant forest. For, like, no reason. But, anyways, tossing logic aside, welcome to some more Medieval 2 Total War. Isaac here, once again, and we're playing as one of my favorite factions, Milan, or however you pronounce that, and we're going to be talking about something that I've never seen on YouTube talked about in this game before, but we'll get to that in just a second. First, to look at my army, because, that's what I fight with. First, we have my general's bodyguard. My general, sitting right here. Don't know why you have to have a general, wouldn't you think that you are the general, but, whatever, it's Total War. Plus, I have 3 units of mailed knights. These are, I guess, medium to heavy cav. They're pretty decent. I like them. I use them a lot. Plus 1 unit of mounted sergeants. They are really light cav. Plus I have 4 units of armored sergeants. They are dismounted versions of that. They have lots of armor, they have a spear, and they have a kite shield, and they suck against infantry, but are great against horses. Plus I have 4 units of Genoese crossbowmen, and they rip through anything, and that's one of the main reasons I love this faction, is because they have those guys that just do it, like 14 damage. Plus I have 6 units of dismounted men-at-arms. They are dismounted. They are not on horses. They are men, and they have arms. They also have swords and shields, and they're pretty decent. They're typical knight type class in this game that almost every single freaking faction has. But alas, moving on to the last important part is what we're talking about. What I talked about at the very beginning of the video, this standard. Now, this standard is supposedly a morale booster to all nearby troops. Now, how effective is it? Well, we're gonna see. But as I unpause, we're gonna do a time elapse. Now coming back, we can see that I finally moved out from the forest and into this open valley, and we're gonna pause real quick and we're gonna look at my opponent and kind of see how things stand right now. So we can see we have several dismounted Byzantine lancers, some Varangian guard. These guys are really scary. Like, I hate going up against those guys. Somewhere back here there was actually some cataphractoi. I think he moved him up here. Some more Varangian guard. He has a unit somewhere around here. Yes. But they are missile calves. They have bows and arrows, I believe. Yes, they have both. Is that a yes, that is a bow and arrow. Can tell if they were javelin or other bows and arrows. But as you can tell by looking at all these Varangian guards, dismounted Byzantine lancers, Laticon, all this good stuff, there are no missile units. So this means I now have an advantage with my 4 Genoese crossbowmen. Something I should have done right away was take them out of this loose formation. I didn't do that till later, but I did turn them off skirmish mode because I don't want them fleeing back. I want them to just basically shoot people. I'm actually sending my mounted sergeants after his very annoying missile cav because I knew that we could catch him. Yes, he does get a couple shots, but I'm chasing him through the woods. Eventually I will catch him. Now, to see how this rush army will not work well for my opponent, look at this. A whole bunch of dead bodies. Remember how I said that they do, 14 damage per shot? Man, that looks bad. And that is bad, because these guys have a lot of armor and a huge shield. So, that's not good for him. I'm just picking away at his guys. And he's going to charge my army. And how's their morale doing? They're eager. We're going to see how long they stay eager. Personally, I would not be very eager. And we can see some Varangian guard coming up. Now, I bought 4 units of armored sergeants. I don't know if that was the best idea. Probably not. But I decided to use them. They're going to charge Varangian guard uphill. It's not going to be the best for them. I'm charging up another unit. I'm going to try to use my mailed knights to get around and do a charge. And we will see how well that works out for us. Get a close-up. Charging in, they don't even put their lances down. They just draw their swords and, stab at a couple of them. I don't even think they got a single kill with that charge. And here comes some cataphractoi. And that's not good for my men, because I'm going up against Varangian guard and cataphractoi with just a unit of mailed knights, because my armored sergeants aren't there enough to shoot them. Luckily my crossbowmen are, and they're taking down quite a few. And basically on this front, you can tell I'm just holding out. And my men are all eager. Still eager. Fresh, eager, fighting. Balance of forces even with 2 units, they are still eager. And it's not that they are that much better. Here is a nice little charge from Kratafraktoi, and it doesn't do much, which I found kind of hilarious. But for right now, we're going to focus on this right flank. As you can tell, gliding uphill, armored sergeants versus ranging guard. Not the best. However, I do touch a Kratafraktoi, they pretty much die pretty quickly. And he's actually going to withdraw him. Good move by my opponent. Going back on the main battle lines, until still eager, so maybe the standard is doing something. And here you can see I finally put my crossbowmen back in tight formation. They take quite some time to reload because they are such heavy firing, weapons, and that is very realistic. And even look at this, 37 men, eager, still eager.
The battle is in our favor. If
There
we remain
is
true and
Our
wholehearted,
wonderful
victory
advisor.
will be ours.
Yes, thank you so much. And basically, I'm just holding out. What my opponent should have been doing is trying to outflank me. I probably would have been able to stop him pretty well. He actually left a unit, Kratafraktoi, right in here. Not a good idea to have them, even though they are that powerful, in a grindy fight. Here you can see I caught some of these guys. They didn't really do well. Somehow he got like this charge on
Only
them
half the enemy force remains.
from behind. Like he was facing behind them and they still got a charge bonus. I noticed that during the battle. I was kind of like, okay. It's not legit at all, but I'm fine with that. I could still easily destroy his men. But still focusing on this right and middle flank. Not much going on here. Probably could have outflanked him, but I did want to like hold this position just to keep this, wagon safe. Plus also to keep my crossbowmen
Praise
safe.
to our Lord. Our men have slain the enemy general.
And remember
now his
my
men will lose heart.
mounted sergeants, yeah, they hunted down his stupid general and killed him. And that's going to be a morale shock, big time. Because they are wavering, and now they are routing. And that's going to be contagious. Because those units rout, and boom, so do these. So, not that good, for my opponent. Here I am just rushing over some other units into this battle. And my crossbowmen are going to be shooting at these guys, both whenever they come back. They stop from routing and they just got shot to death, basically. Yeah, most of his men will actually stop routing. It was just this sudden morale shock. And, maybe he should have brought a standard to prevent that. Never know. Anyway, man, look at what my crossbows are just doing to these guys. It's absolutely destroying them. Plus, they're shooting them from behind, which is never good. And now, basically, it is a cleaning up operation with all these men who are still eager. They are not wavering it. That charge is not going to do that much. May kill a couple of my men, but just look at the large groups of dismounted men-at-arms, some of which I haven't even used yet. Here, you can see Kratafraktoi coming in. I was going to use my armored sergeants to get them, but they rout before they even touch anything, and then they unfortunately step right into the way of my armored sergeant. So that entire unit is wiped out. And now my enemy is on the retreat.
This is a...
Moving on to the left flank. We're talking about the left flank. You can tell the terrain was not to my opponent's advantage. Apparently his men do not understand what walking around a rock is, but that's okay. They still got a pretty decent charge. And here, off to the left, you can tell that Kratafraktoi, and some Varangian Guard are moving on my left flank. And I saw that in a decent amount of time. I was focused a lot over there with that Varangian Guard fight I was talking about earlier. And so he gets a nice Kratafraktoi charge on the sides of my dismounted men-at-arms, and by nice I mean he kills no one in the charge. Yes, so very much. Found it quite hilarious. Now to combat this huge Kratafraktoi unit, I'm using all of one unit of mounted knights. Apparently I decided they could take on entire unit cataphractoid. Oh, but now they can because they have armored sergeants to their rescue. And that'll be enough to turn the tide of that battle. Here you can see he got his cataphractoid out. I actually focus fired on them with some of my crossbowmen, and that is going to tear them up. Even though they are very nicely armored, it's still not enough. Here he charges in one unit of Varangian God against my armored sergeants. Once again, not exactly going to win that fight for me. I charge after with my mailed knights. Went after his cataphractoid, got them from the rear, and got a nice, decent 2 kills with that charge. Sometimes the charging in that game does not make sense, or in this game doesn't make sense. Here he is encompassing my guys, but that's alright. And look, they're still eager.
It is unwise.
These guys are wavering. No! The standard. Look at the standard. Fight for the standard. You only have... Oh, you have 12 guys left. That's somewhat understandable. So, focus fire on some more Varangian guards and these damn cataphractoid, because they are very annoying and very scary. Some of the best... I think they're probably the best cavalry unit, if not one of the better. And here he's going to charge my crossbowmen, and they're going to take a volley right in the
enemy
face.
Are badly
That had
blooded.
to be painful.
They have lost half their men.
And another thing about these guys is they don't fool around in melee fights. That guy did a flip, but he's that acrobatic that he can do that. They pulled out their swords. They're going to start beating the crap out of these guys, and they are losing. Wow. An amazing thing. 19 versus 52. Yeah, like, that's understandable how they're losing. Cataphractoid coming up behind my guys again, but I don't even think a rear charge would do that much. Especially, oh, they do have their lances down. Ooh, he does get a nice little charge, and he does actually...
The enemy general is dead.
Thank you for
we
that.
Have sent the
he
idiot
does actually
hell.
route that unit to 25. I'm sure they will come back eventually. And those damn Varangians actually won. Here, I have a unit of 75. You can tell they only charge in 12 at a time, then have the rest of the guys standing back. Why? I don't know. That's just how the charging system works. Here, you can see left flank is also affected by that general getting killed, except for this Varangian guard. They are actually winning the fight, which is kind of odd to me. Figured they'd actually lose it. They're going to take probably a couple crossbow bolts to the face. Or just those guys back there will take a couple crossbow bolts to the face. Here, he left his cataphractoid undefended after they probably defeated my mailed knights. I don't remember. But I'm going to charge them in here, and that is very bad for him. Look, they even have the maces still. That's quite interesting. And that is enough to do enough damage to an armored sergeant unit. So keep that in mind. These guys will lose to armored sergeants or even regular infantry like that, but it's enough. And remember these guys, they routed. Now they're steady, actually. I find that quite interesting. Was it the standard? Most likely. And here he is charging in with some Varangian God, probably against my crossbowmen, because they do so much damage. And they're going to take a whole bunch of crossbows right to the face. Some of them are just going to, take a nap right there. They are actually smart enough to walk around the tree. That is actually quite amazing how some of these units can walk around trees.
This is a clear
but
victory.
their fight was useless. I don't understand the purpose of this type of a shield, because it doesn't seem like it would do much, but my opponent meant to be. Now, here we can tell what kind of battle this was. This was quantity over quality, and it actually worked in my favor. Now, why? Indeed, this standard helped a lot. My general was standing behind my men the entire time, but I've done tests before, and they will waver. However, having the standard plus the general helps so much. Like I said, and I kept showing you guys, my men were constantly just, eager. Took cataphractoid charges right to the face, and they were still eager. It was amazing that they didn't, rout a little bit more. Even, like, these guys. One armored sergeant unit did rout from this, but they did come back eventually. Not too far out either, with very few men remaining. So, is the standard worth it? Depends. Like, if you were wanting to win without a doubt and use all your money just, perfectly, I wouldn't use it. However, if you were wanting some fun, and if you are wanting to do a battle where quantity versus quality. Standard helps a lot, because you could have really crappy guys, but they will fight for that standard. And in fact, it even comes with a unit of, I guess they are the same as armored sergeants, and they're really good. I actually took them off the wagon for a little bit and hunted down some cataphractoi, and they did pretty decent. In fact, let's look and see how well they did. They got 4 kills, I believe. That's decent enough. I mean, you're not going to be expecting a lot. Apparently, it gives a date and the region. So the map is Highlander or something like that, and apparently it's 1250 AD. I think that's kind of cool. I've never noticed that before. But another look at the casualties inflicted. Let's look and see how well my crossbowmen did. Let's see. 58, 60. Some of the best in the entire match. Yeah, 60 is the highest, and that belongs to my crossbowmen. So, I think they were actually one of my most expensive units, and luckily for me, he did not bring any melee units, so they were used to the best of their ability. So choosing when to use things and how to use things, that is the key to win a battle. Notice that I use diversion. Over here I use armored sergeants to stop his ranging guards from attacking my men, dismounted men-at-arms from the flanks. Now, had they gotten there, maybe the standard would have failed, but with a quantity over quality army, you have to remember that you have more troops, you have to use them to stall as long as possible, and it takes a lot of micromanagement to do that. And I made a couple mistakes, but overall, I did good enough to completely defeat my enemy. But a good game to my opponent. I know I will be playing him against him in several other videos coming up. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. It helps me out a lot, and I will catch you guys in the next chapter.